Welcome back. Breaking news right now. President Trump posted on Truth Social moments ago saying, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary wonderfully can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran," writes President Trump. Meanwhile, there's this. North Carolina Congressman Pat Harrigan earlier with me on this program telling me that the House leadership has decided that the House will not return early from the recess to end the 53-day-long shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans are now planning to use budget reconciliation to fund immigration enforcement without support from Democrats. The president would like the bill on his desk by June 1st. Some lawmakers are expecting one bill for border funding and then another bill for voting reforms and anti-fraud measures. Joining me now is Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. He is the chairman of the House Budget Committee. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to see you. You bet.
So
good to be with you.
Let's talk about all of this. What are your expectations in terms of the budget after seeing the president's request for 2027 and a $1.5 trillion defense outlay?
I expect that we continue to do what we've done since Republicans have been in control of the House, bring down the wasteful spending and the bloated bureaucracy, but make investments in defense, which is the most important job of the federal government, and to continue to bend the curve on mandatory spending in the long run and promote growth. Every 1% of GDP over the 10-year budget window is $3 trillion in deficit reduction. So that's the trajectory Republicans have put this country on, which puts us on a more sustainable path than we're currently on. Then we have to pivot today and deal with the recalcitrance of Democrats who are continuing to hold the American people and our Homeland Security hostage over their ridiculous and dangerous demands to effectively defund ICE and Border Patrol. So let's dispense with the filibuster. Let's use budget reconciliation, give us the simple majority in the Senate, and let's be the adults in the room and get back to governance, especially in this critical time of conflict with Iran.
So how much of the president's budget do you think are real policy priorities, and how much do you believe are some of his negotiating postures?
Well, the president is the chief of negotiations, and I think he's not going to start with the end result. I think he's really giving a picture of how we need to fund the current operations. Probably will need to supplement the military operations today, but he's also looking into the future and making sure we have the strongest, most capable, most modernized military for future readiness and warfare.
Yeah.
So that number is a big number, Maria. We're not going to get Democrats to support us in regular order through appropriations. Those monies are going to have to be secured through reconciliation, the all-Republican exercise.
Right.
And I suspect that many fiscal hawks like myself would say we ought to support the president's war on fraud as a way to pay for this important capital investment in future warfare.
Yeah, that's a great point, because there's probably a lot of low-hanging fruit there when it comes to fraud. I thought it was interesting that just after Artemis II sort of rekindled all of our interest in space and the moon, the biggest cut here was the $5.6 billion from NASA, a 23% reduction there. But look, the money's got to come from somewhere. And I want to get your take on whether or not we're seeing a depletion in terms of our stockpiles with regard to weapons. This morning, Reuters is reporting that the IRGC is threatening neighboring Gulf countries, saying that it's going to target U.S. infrastructure. It's threatening to disrupt regional oil and gas supplies for years. Also, Fox News can confirm that the U.S. hit dozens of military targets on Kharg Island overnight. They hit bunkers, a radar station, an ammo depot, several of them. A U.S. official telling Fox, quote, "This is a message to the Iranians." It comes as the president has reasserted his deadline of 8 p.m. Eastern tonight for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face the consequences, and those consequences being destruction of all of its bridges and power plants, Mr. Chairman. What is your assessment of this war and its impact on our stockpiles and its impact on markets like oil.
Okay, well, I think the president, thank God we have a commander-in-chief that is not full of empty rhetoric, because we've delayed this inevitability for 50 years. I think Iran had a vision that they would escape any consequence and accountability, and that we'd have an Ayatollah that was fully equipped with nuclear weapons. So we'd have another North Korea, save and except for President Trump, who is a man with a bias for action and a man who presented with the facts that we have imminent threats to today and for our children's future, is going to act, even if it's against his personal political interests. So thank God for President Trump and for the courage and political will to do what he's doing. Now we've got to replenish the munitions. There's no doubt about it. We have to supplement the defense resources, but we're not going to get help from Democrats. I mean, I think we can look at Homeland Security as case in point, right? Exhibit A. So we're going to have to work together as Republicans to do that. We can make a down payment on future investments as well, and we can do it and underwrite it with all the tremendous waste and fraud across the federal government. We cut $1.6 trillion in the big, beautiful bill in mandatory waste and fraud. And if we applied that to other means-tested welfare programs, there are only 80 means-tested programs at $1.5 trillion. Surely we can find the money to support this most important objective, to win, to achieve the objectives, and to come back and have the readiness posture, again, not for just tomorrow, but well into the future. Yeah,
so I have two questions there based on all of that you just said. Number one, how much low-hanging fruit is there in fraud? What kind of a number are we talking about?
Well, I've got a longer list than I think Republicans have an appetite for. Not all, but budget hawks like me, it's hundreds of billions of dollars. And watchdog groups like the GAO says it's upwards of $500 billion a year. But let me give you an example. In the low-income housing tax credit, for example, which is a means-tested welfare, cash welfare system program, rather, we don't have safeguards to prevent illegal immigrants from availing themselves of that tax-funded social welfare program. We've got others like the Earned Income Tax Credit. It's another cash welfare program because it's a refundable tax credit. The error rate, the improper payment rate, Maria, is 30 cents on the dollar. And I could go through a litany of programs like that, and they stretch across the entire federal apparatus, which I think is no surprise to taxpayers in West Texas and probably throughout the nation.
Absolutely.
We can do this.
All right, on reconciliation, Congressman, real quick before you go, what do you want to see in there? So if you've got to have funding for ICE and CBP, you've got this potential $200 billion defense supplemental. Can you make the Save America Act a budgetary item? Okay, because you're going to have to outlay money to states, right, for secure elections. So can you put that circle into a square and make Save America Act in reconciliation as well? What are your other priorities for reconciliation?
A great question. We have two reconciliation opportunities. So whether we do the DHS funding and then go to 3.0 reconciliation, or we do them in a combination, it's obviously support defense first. Secondly, it's the war on fraud and reducing taxpayer-funded waste and fraud. It's also affordability issues on health care and housing. And then, of course, what you said, we're going to try creatively to put incentive monies to states who can get those resources if they implement voter integrity or voter ID and other election integrity measures. So that is what has to be worked out with the Senate, because the Senate is where they have this privileged motion of reconciliation and the parliamentary procedures that are reviewed by the parliamentarian. But we can do it through grant monies, through incentive programs, and it will be a sort of a down payment, I would say, on the Save America Act. It won't be exactly like that, but you have to make it a budgetary, material budgetary measure if you're going to get it past the Byrd rule in the Senate.
Yeah, exactly. I like it because we want secure elections, Congressman, bottom line. And we're going 100%. Into the midterm elections, and we'd like to see that in place before the midterm elections. Do you agree? We need secure elections, Liz Peek.
Yeah, and I think voters are demanding that, too. I think they expect the GOP to deliver on this.
Mr. Chairman, good to see you, sir. Thank you. We'll be watching your work, as always.
You too.
All right, Jodey Arrington.
Thank y'all. God bless.
We'll be right back. Good.